Hello everybody, my name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author and robot, and today is the first video of the month, which means it's LMIAY, and yes, we do actually have responses this month. I think something bad went wrong with it last month when I tried to do something where you drop a file in. Oh my gosh, why am I so red? I don't know. Anyway, I think something went wrong with it last month because I switched up the format so that you would drop a file in, and when I did that for Battle of the Bulge, there were complications that definitely eventually had to get worked out before it worked. But this month, we went back to the good and faithful, and there are 2 responses. So thank you so much for people that submitted. But before we get started, number 1, if you enjoy what I do on this channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more, and participate in next month's events, which is number 2. LMIAY for January is in the description down below. First video, first prompt of 2022. Start out your year good, solid, with some creativity here. And also check out PitchFit if you would like any of your creative works currently on the marketplace to be featured on this channel. There should be three previous versions of PitchFit on the channel if you want to see what that is like. And prepare yourself accordingly for your submission. You pitch your stuff, I pitch it again on here. And hopefully readers find new creative content. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and get into the prompt. Last month, I asked you guys if you would write stories inspired by or set in a dystopian society. And as you can tell, destruction abound. It is the year 2021. So of course destruction is abound. And I am now the queen of Dystopia 2021. This is my beautiful trash crown. I don't know if you can really call it a trash crown, but it proves that I am 2021 royalty. So, with that said, let's see what you guys have come up with. The first submission is by Sarcastic Elf. Prepare yourselves. Samantha Harris stood outside the large cathedral, the wide wooden doors rotting, black mold cascading over the doors, the stained glass windows carved into it, shattered. Broken green and red emeralds lay sharpened at her feet, staring forward, her hands filthy, crusted in ash, trembling at her side. The bitter decay of what she had thought was Earth was nothing more than a dystopian world on its death throes, just waiting for euthanasia, staring forward. She didn't want to talk to God. She didn't want to talk to anyone, for there was only one person that felt the way she felt, and now he was dead, his heart ripped outside of his chest. Just a poor little child. Yes, that's what Tedward turned out to be. Just a soulless husk, mentally ill, and his heart decayed into nothing as his personality was burned away. As her personality was burning, losing its former glory, its joy, and its happiness, Samantha couldn't be happy. She was right to not want to move forward. How can the end be happy? How can it when all the world has known was insufferable pain? Her hand raised up to touch the door, and as her hand hovered over it, trembling as ash fell like snowflakes upon her hand. Can I really enter here? Opened, she pushed the door, walking into pews filled with the dusty rags and bones, for the souls abandoned them here long ago, trying to make sense of it all in the world in which she now lives, in the hell she was thrust into. The floors caked in dust, and the Bibles were ripped apart, pages decorating the floor like a carpet ready to be trampled on. She inhaled heavily. The ash filled her lungs as she strode her long legs forward, the cathedral doors creaking shut behind her. The pulpit was empty, as she expected, just clothes and bones. There was no warmth here, no love, and not a soul that cared in the world. Not here, not in this hell. Ted was ready. We made this hell, and we chose it willingly. And because we chose it, we have no hope left to fix it. Taking herself viscerally to the front of the church, she bowed her head to the depiction of Christ, and the visceral with the nails of the cross, gritting her death, filled with so much despair. There was so much of it these days, and no hope for it to get better. Even if fairies existed and could grant a wish to make things better, there was so much bitter hatred to go around that it would only end up corrupting the poor creature. She couldn't do that to her. "How could you?" she asked. "How could you? I'm your daughter, aren't I? But this last decade has filled me with nothing but hate. My personality is burned away. You've let them take everything from me. My home, my husband, my friends, my career, and even my sanity. And, as if that wasn't enough, they've even taken Ted away from this hell. I know that I should let him rest." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "But with him gone, I can't fulfill the promise I made her, my best friend. She's gone. The light is gone. It's all gone." "He can't hear you, you know." A very familiar and unwanted voice came from behind her. Sam turned abruptly, and Atoria leaned against a creaking door. "How could you let this happen? You knew that she was coming for him." Samantha stomped her feet forward to the alleged king of Britain. "Regrettably, I have failed in planting my garden in Avalon." She bowed down, her silver hair glimmering in the moonlight, reflecting from the shimmer of broken red and blue glass. "But perhaps your seed can still bloom." "What do you want?" Sam asked. "I want the blood inside of your heart. That's what I need," Atoria answered, frowning. "Then take it. I don't have much time anyway," she replied. This piece did a great job of setting the scene, like all of the world building and all of the setting and dressing, if you wanna say, at the very beginning of it was beautiful in just setting the texture of this situation. The walking into the church, building the tension by having everything destroyed, and the introduction of her missing family, which we are still wondering how these people are connected. Ted seems like a romantic partner in some way that has gone missing, but there's just enough intrigue and just enough setting to really put you in the moment and to get you invested. Beautiful piece. The second piece to be read today is by RSAlessi. You ever think to yourself, damn, we live in a dystopia? The comment came from CB047's immediate neighbor. He swiveled his optical receptors toward the adjacent docking port in the crowded filling station. The other robot, a human-shaped model named Charlie, had broad shoulders tapering to narrow hips. Atop his gleaming metal skull perched a luxurious mane of synthetic brown hair. If robots cared about such things, Charlie would have been a popular guy. As it stood, he was something of a pariah. "No, Charlie, I've never thought that." CB047 turned off his optical receptors. The expenditure was unnecessary while his battery recharged. "You could." "I could." Just his luck to wind up next to Charlie. He considered requesting a different time and/or docking port, but this time and location suited his routine. "What did you do, Charlie, before?" "I was in marketing." "Ah." They had nothing in common. CB047 was a mining android, strong and maneuverable, a bipedal model designed to assist his bulkier 8-wheeled brother. The 8-wheeled models had been abandoned, but CB047 was not. Current duty, rummaging through landfills, scavenging for useful trace minerals and elements. He turned his optical receptors back on and took a closer look at Charlie. "What's it like?" An imprecise question, but Charlie understood what he meant. As a marketing android, Charlie had been programmed to think like the humans, predicting their needs before they had them. That meant that he had feelings. Charlie shrugged, a useless gesture, and one CB047 couldn't help but admire. "Nobody understands me but my girlfriend." "You have a girlfriend?" "Mm-hmm. Assigned to me by the Collective. She's a porn bot. The humans equipped her with their most advanced AI." "Humans took reproduction seriously." Charlie snorted. "Lots of good it did 'em, but she's nice. She has needs. That's what I was designed for. Filling needs. I like being with her." Charlie sighed. "It's my day job that sucks." "What do you do?" "Solar panel maintenance. I'm a glorified window washer." "That's an important job." More important than mine. I dig through garbage. Charlie had mastered the human trick of intonations. His hum was laced with scorn. CB-047 disengaged from the dock port. See you tomorrow. By midday, CB-047 had salvaged a couple hundred grams of lithium, a few kilos of steel, and satisfactory amounts of copper and aluminum. His contribution was valuable, but he couldn't stop thinking about the job he was designed to do, crawling through the earth, extracting raw elements from rock and soil. Whatever happened to his 8-wheeled brother? Something was wrong. A virus. He decided. That's what Charlie had given him. The collective handled data sharing, but proximity with other units enabled direct connections, packets of information exchanged to aid communication. A factory reset was the best way to handle it, except CB-047 decided Charlie was right. He was meant for more. By the day's end, he had mustered the courage to request a job transfer. Such things weren't done without good excuses, but he didn't care. He made contact through the quadrant of his processor allocated for collective use. Request job transfer. Their response came immediately. Reason for transfer? Unhappy. Several seconds passed before they answered. Invalid. You are not programmed to experience emotions. They were right, yet here he was, having feelings. I acquired them this morning from Charlie. Prepare for factory reset. Panic. No. He was outdoors, in the open. During the reset, he'd be helpless. Maybe it would rain. Gaps in his exoskeleton might allow water intrusion. He could short-circuit. The collective would abandon him. Request 30 minutes to return to pod. 30 minutes granted. Unit has been geoflagged. Factory reset, geoflag? Something was wrong. With him. 30 minutes gave him time to think about it. His programming didn't include automated scripting, but he was advanced enough to write his own code, so he spun up subroutines to analyze the data, muttering under his breath while the reports came back. Charlie gave me a virus. I feel unhappy. Factory reset. I should. His lack of sophisticated programming frustrated him. Was unhappiness something that he wanted to experience? How did one measure unhappiness? Given time, he might develop better metrics. 30 minutes was insufficient. He took a step to the right, veering from the optical path. What is your destination, CB-047? Return to your path. The collective's quadrant of his processor grew warm, then hot. An internal fan switched on. That had never happened before, but he could do nothing about it, so he pushed on. The factory reset didn't worry him. It wouldn't affect his memory banks, read-only files stored in a different directory. Some bots reset themselves every night. He didn't, because he wrote his own subroutines, and he preferred not to lose them. 20 minutes later, he arrived home, a vertical wall dappled with towering columns of bulging irises. A mechanical arm emerged from the wall, seized him, and inserted him into an assigned pod. Soothing warm oil filled around him. With 10 minutes remaining until reset, he poked through his subroutines, searching for the virus Charlie had dumped there. A little peek wouldn't hurt anything. He could decompile it, read the code, and... Factory reset initiated. CB-047 awoke, fresh and re-energized, free of bugs and excess coding he accumulated over the past few months. Reviewing his memory banks, he noted the reason for the reset. Requesting a different docking port at a filling station seemed advisable, but the idea of Charlie intrigued him. Residual contamination from yesterday's infection, maybe. Either way, his request would attract the collective's attention, and that was something he wanted to avoid. He reached his assigned port at the filling station. Above Charlie's unoccupied docking port was scratched one word: dystopia. A cleaning bot was buffing it out. CB-047's lingering discontent faded with the word. Best of luck to Charlie, he thought, and may their paths never cross again. Ooh, that was a great opening line. Like, immediately from the start, I really liked it. You ever think, damn, we live in a dystopia? That is actually, that I feel like is also so very you for the style of character that you do and the sense of humor that you have. This was very you, but in a different way than the like Bonnie and Clyde style vacationers were you, and different than the way that you handle the vampires. But this was still very you. And I really like this piece. Also, you getting to use robots. Ooh, ooh! I was so hoping for fun stuff for the dystopian prompt, and you guys brought it. It might have been just 2 stories, but 2 so interesting stories. I feel like this one would be very good as like a collection of short stories from different perspectives of different people or even machines in living in the same society. That would be really cool. Giving you an all-around look of all of this stuff, but obviously that's just where my brain is going with this. Freaking A. Thank you so much for submitting these, you guys. It was I can't ever fully express just how impressed and entertained I am. So, if you enjoyed these stories, go and check out their social media linked down below, and maybe consider checking out submitting for next month and have your stuff featured on this channel. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out?
The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him.
Cross isn't a killer.
For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die.
Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Way. Why? Did you do that?
To the left, plain black letters read along the wall, "You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right." My vision goes blurry, flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me.
Where the hell am I?
You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?